Well, hello. Welcome to Beyonce's Side of the Internet, and I'm Sharonda. And during this video, I'll be talking about a series by Nikki Clarke. Okay, and if you don't know who Nikki Clarke is a black author who writes speculative fiction with black folks in her book. Okay. So, and she has several different series out. Her most popular one is Black Girls in Space series, which is really fantastic. You guys need to read that. But I came across this 2-book series of hers, which is a mermaid series, and it is called the Monarchs of Midaan. Okay, both the books in the series are novella length, and for image purposes, I'm just going to put the covers of the books behind me as I talk about them. Okay, so the first book we have in the series is God's Plan, and it's pretty much a starter series. So in the first book, we have Sua, who is soon to be queen of this fictional place in Africa that Nikki Clarke has created. And but she has a problem because her father, who's the king now, refuses to hand over the kingdom to Sua, because Sua in this book is your typical party girl princess. Like, she was out there wilding, okay, and her father wants her to settle down so that she could become queen of this kingdom, okay. But okay, he throws this ultimatum on her, like she has to get married within 3 months and get pregnant with an heir in order for him to leave things to her. And I was just like, sir, what? But anyway, so this sends Sua into a panic of trying to find, someone to marry her and get her pregnant by the time her father returns back too, because they own like this really exclusive vacation island as well, and a lot of people come to it and stuff like that. So the father leaves the island, and it sends Sua into a panic to try to find somebody to get with and get pregnant by in 3 months before her father returns back to the island. So in her kerfuffle to trying to get somebody, she convinces herself to hook up with somebody that she was briefly married to way back when, who ended up stealing from her, who actually ended up stealing a very priceless family heirloom. And it's just a whole lot. So while she's going through the rigmarole or whatever, she meets God, and God comes to the vacation island to actually get back at Sua's father. God's people, his mother, his grandparents and stuff like that, they were part of Sua's people, but they were pushed out through this whole power struggle type thing. So he's there to get revenge or whatever, and also get his hands on this family heirloom that was stolen from Sua that she's trying to get back. It's a lot going on inside of this little book, okay? So for the most part, I like this one. Sua was very much annoying. She's very much, she's, like I said, she was the typical party girl inside this book. So she was annoying at most times. I do feel like in this book, for me, I didn't feel a real connection between God and Sua. And I think because this was the starter book in the series, we got a lot of back information, which I did like. We got a lot of back information on how these mermaids came to be, right? Sua's people and God's people. And it's all tied into the African slave trade and things like that. So I like that aspect of it. But I think that, I still didn't feel, I feel like we didn't have much of a connection between Sua and God, because we had these separate stories of him, plotting his revenge, and then telling us his backstory about, what happened to his people and why, he, his people was in America. It had like this whole kind of like, what was that damn movie? Kind of like Black Pantherish thing, when the character that, what's that child name? Michael. What's that child name? Played, and he's trying to get back at T'Challa's people. It had kind of like that kind of like thing going on with it. But and then we had Sua, in her panic to get somebody to marry her before her father got back to the island. You know what I mean? So I think because of these separate stories that was going on between them, it just didn't feel like, in my opinion, that we had much connection between the characters. So by the time we got to the end of the book, it was really hard for me to believe that her and God were supposed to be like this destined couple that was supposed to be together and, you know, bring back the togetherness of these mermaid people. And I also feel like we didn't get much mermaidness inside of the first book, which I really would have enjoyed more on the page. We really didn't get it until like the end of the book. And I was just like, yeah, I need a little bit more. You know what I mean? But for the most part, it was an okay story. So then we go into the second book, which is Mais Way. And this is I hope I'm saying the name right. So this is Kairoto's story. I'll call her Kai for short. And she is Sua's head of security. In the first book, we saw her a lot. She was always trying to get Sua's ass together, but it was impossible, girl. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I really did enjoy Kai's book so much more. I think the story had so much more to it. You know what I mean? So in this book, we get the story behind Kai and the reason the way she is in the first book, because she was a lot in the first book, and she really didn't trust no man because she was in God's ass in that first book. And I was like, well, damn, you don't even know him like that. Like, you hate this man, you know what I mean? Excuse me. You hate this man and you don't even know him like that or whatever. I mean, she was right to her suspicions, but she was like too much. So inside this book, we get the story behind Kairoto and why she is the way she is. You know what I'm saying? Why she has this kind of like distrust of men, basically, right? So when we go inside of the book, it picks up in the past when Kairoto, I think it's Kairoto. She is a student in college in the States. She's come to the States for a year to to go to school and stuff like that. And she meets Michael, right? And Michael is also a college student, and he is, content warning for this book is real heavy on substance abuse, because when we go inside of the book, we're getting Michael's point of view when he first sees Kairoto and how he's so like in love with her. He kept saying she's destined to be his wife and all this other gizmariz and stuff like that. And where she's building us up in this book to when we get to the present, right? But anyway, they meet, they hook up in college and stuff like that, but Michael has a substance abuse problem, and when Kairoto takes him home to meet the family, he ends up it's heavy on stealing in this series, child. So he ends up stealing from her, which kind of like, and he's still, doing a substance abuse thing, which he was basically like popping pills and stuff like that while he was in college. And that causes the break between him and Sua. But I'm not going to tell y'all much because this is a novella length, so I don't want to tell you too much. But, this doesn't only leave Sua with a heartbreak. I'll tell you that. So, we go 10 years later, where Michael has cleaned himself up, got himself together, and he comes to this exclusive vacation island, not knowing that Sua lives there as well, and he runs into it, and he makes it his mission to try to get her back after 10 years, child. But anyway, I like this book. I thought she did a really good job on explaining Michael's substance abuse issues and why he was using in the first place. And I really like that we got more of an understanding on why Kai is the way she is and why she just has this distrust of men, you know what I mean, because of the way that Michael did her. And she was just like, fuck it out, whatever. But I thought it was just like a great story. She really did an awesome job with it. I mean, it's pretty much a short story, so you know, I don't want to go into like I said, I don't want to go into too much detail because then I'll be telling the whole thing. But for this one, I understood Kai's resistance to believing Michael, like even when she meets him again, and you know, trying to allow him back into her life. I understood her resistance in, you know, not trusting him or believing him, you know, even though he was like, you know, he didn't relapse. He hasn't relapsed in years and stuff like that. But I understood her resistance to all of that. And I got the connection between I got the connection between Kyoto and Michael. Like, by the time I got to the end of this book, it was believable for them to be a couple, you know, in this present and future going forward. We did get a little bit more mermaid on page. Still not enough, but we got a little bit more mermaidness on page than we did in the first book, which I greatly appreciated. But I do understand that the first book was basically you know, a setup for going into the series, so which is fine, but I still would have appreciated it more. But for the most part, I like this series as a whole. I love Nikki Clarke's writing. I think she's a phenomenal writer, and I love that she's writing stories with, you know, these speculative fiction, sci-fi stories, you know, with black folks in it. Love it. And check her out. She has an amazing catalog on Amazon. So yeah, check her out. And that is it for me. Not bad as far as minutes into the video, but check her out. You can find her books on Amazon, and a majority of them are in the Kindle Unlimited program. So until the next one, later days. Bye.